they're saying that for every 1% increase in the share of Airbnbs, it results in a 2.3% increase in rent.
I don't see that as a substantial factor as to why rental rates have increased.
I agree.
In 2023.
I think it's fugazi. There's no correlation. In my personal opinion, I think it's a bullshit fake news article. Why I say that is I think the influence from rental rates, it has a direct correlation with what happened last year with the market.
Yeah.
Okay, you're buying a house for $1 million at 7% fucking interest. That's why you have high rental rates.
Yeah.
No one could afford to buy a house.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Bottom Line Podcast. This is Luca from Remax. I'm here with Antonio from Sherwood Mortgages, and I'm here with Mike from Dandel and Remax Experts.
Let's go.
We are very excited to have you guys back for episode 7. That has a ton of valuable
Lucky
content.
7.
Yeah, lucky number 7, right? Ton of valuable content we're going to bring to you today. Some fun stories and some good times at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. And let's get started. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Doing everybody good?
I'm great. Yeah.
I'm good.
Supposed?
It's cold.
It's cold. It's cold.
Yeah.
The year's started off 2024. I think we're only looking up in every aspect of life. That's the hope, right? Onwards and upwards. So we got a few topics that we want to talk about today. We're going to chat about if there is an impact on the housing affordability with relation to short-term rentals.
Yeah, those Airbnbs, those Verbos.
Yeah, we read an article that we thought was pretty interesting, so we want to touch upon that. We're also going to talk about different lending products, I believe, Tony, for different stages of life.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, and then we're going to chat about, we're going to have our story time, of course. We'll tell you guys a story because we like to keep it real, obviously.
Talk about the election potential.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the election,
How it's going to affect things, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll probably touch upon Mike's little segment of the red flags.
The red flags.
We didn't get the flag.
Fuck the flag.
We'll bring it back. We'll find the flag. Don't worry, we'll find the flag.
This article was like, it caught our attention.
Yeah.
Caught our attention for sure because we did a whole episode about Airbnbs. We were in that space. We like the short-term rental game, but the claim is that short-term rentals have substantially impacted housing affordability.
Yeah.
The rental rates.
Yeah. So they're saying that for every 1% increase in the share of Airbnbs, it results in a 2.3% increase in rents.
Well, yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Personally, I don't see that as a substantial factor as to why rental rates have increased.
I agree.
In 2023. I don't know how you guys feel, but we can go into it for sure. What do you think, Mike?
I think it's fugazi. I think the article, there's no correlation. In my personal opinion, I think it's a bullshit fake news article. Only reason why I say that is I think the influence from rental rates, it has a direct correlation with what happened last year with the market.
Yeah.
Okay, you're buying a house for $1 million at 7% fucking interest. That's why you have high rental rates.
Yeah.
No one could afford to buy a house.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to do with Airbnb. I think Airbnb, they're quick. They're meant to be short term.
Sure.
You're not going on Airbnb to do a 1-year lease. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
But it's uncommon.
Yeah.
It's for short term, people in a pinch, selling a house.
Yeah.
They need to move into something for 2 months. I don't think it has an effect on the rental market in that sense.
And don't forget too, there's a lot of people that had to sell their house last year, right? Like because they were in a bind.
Yeah.
Their rates.
They still had to live somewhere,
yeah.
right? So when they sold it, what happened? They had to go rent somewhere. So rent's going to go up, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
More people wanting to rent.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Supply and demand.
And there's many factors. Those are just a couple factors.
Yeah.
What about immigration? 500,000 people let into
Coming
this country. Every year, and
Probably
it's,
higher than
it's only
that.
going up. Yeah, right. That number might not be that true. It's probably higher. These people need to live somewhere, right?
Yeah, where are they going to go?
Yeah, and if they're coming in, they could be coming in and purchasing. They might be coming in and renting. They might be doing both. So
But they're not going on Airbnb, that's for sure.
Yeah, all of these factors have to do with it. Also, one other thing that they have not discussed in this article, was how hard it is to get building permits to build in this country.
The gatekeepers.
The red tape is absolutely, the gatekeepers.
The red tape, red flags.
The red tape, and the red flags. We're going to talk about red tape right now, though. The red tape is incredible. It takes builders sometimes 5-7 years just to get, approvals.
And the cost.
Too.
Yeah, cost.
Not just time and cost.
Oh, we're going to rip this article apart, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think, honestly, the interesting number was that there was 235,800 Airbnb/verbos available for people to choose from in Canada, which equates to 1.4% of the whole country's housing stock. Okay. So times this by 100, that gives you all the housing available in Canada. In Canada.
Yeah.
Not enough houses.
No.
Right? Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
What do you expect? Right?
Yeah.
Like it's we know what the root of the problem is. You're just trying to pinpoint.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone, Airbnb always gets a bad rap.
Short-term rentals always takes a beating because you know why? When people do it successfly, it's good business.
Yeah.
It's lucrative business, and it just seems more and more like this red tape is being put on, our options. To get wealth and move ahead.
Like, what are some other restrictions for Airbnb? 180 days? What's that one?
180 nights a year in Toronto.
Yeah.
What happens if they put it down to cut that in half?
90. What do 90? Yeah.
It's 3 months. Yeah. How much lower can we go in that sense, right?
And then it's just going to eliminate it as a whole.
Let's get rid of it.
So it's, I don't know. But in that same article, they're also saying there's very, very little price relief expected in the new year. Like, I just don't see where they go from here.
Yeah.
Where do they go from here? What's the point? Right? What's the point of what this article is trying to get across? Don't do Airbnbs. Shut down Airbnb. Get these big real estate markets to ban Airbnb rentals, short-term rentals as a whole. Right? There's a huge clientele that can only do short-term rentals. Why eliminate that?
And benefits to doing short-term rentals.
So many benefits from the investor standpoint.
Yeah, and from our point of view, from what we've seen, a main reason is the rules, the tenant rules. Like, they have all the power when it comes to renting.
Secret, right?
It's not a secret. Everyone knows, and they take advantage of it. They know they can go into someone's house for a year and not pay $1.
Yeah.
Like, it happens.
Yeah.
We've heard stories where the landlords have to pay the tenant
to get
a lump sum to get them out of their own house.
Yeah.
It's backwards. So why take that risk?
Yeah.
Like, why would you take it? You can go on Airbnb. You get paid up front. I believe we used to get paid, portion of it up front. And
depending on how long they stayed, right?
Yeah, depending on how long they stayed.
Yeah, you'd get it. A majority of it would be up front. Yeah.
Yeah. They're in, they're out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's some real perks. And especially right now, just because of the tough times, economic tough times. I think if things were better, I think even tenants, they would be more stable and they wouldn't be risking like, I'm not going to pay my landlord.
Yeah.
Like, they're in really hard situations right now.
Yeah. It's not easy for anybody. Yeah, you're right. And, like, to add to your point too, no landlord wants to, we've done both, right? We've rented long-term for our investment properties. We've done Airbnb. We've seen both sides of the coin, I guess you could say. And I think if possible, we'd probably stick with Airbnb as much as we can. Again, government's trying to make that tough on people. They're trying to really, really crack down on that.
And these articles don't help.
I think that even like if you look at BC, in BC they made these adjustments and it resulted in about 16,000 properties coming out now to be available for purchase. What I think is happening is that deflecting from the real problem, right? What we talked about before, the red tape, the difficulties that builders and developers have in terms of being able to get homes built.
It's a Band-Aid.
Right? It's they're just trying to do everything possible to continue to hold on to those processes and delay building. And then, pick on the short-term rental properties and force them to have to be, relinquished by the owner because they can't, do what they originally planned to do with that property.
Yeah.
Right. So but 16,000 properties in BC, that's not going to solve your problem.
No,
it's not going to solve your problem, right? So it's a Band-Aid, it's a short-term effect, it's a deflection, whatever you want to call it. But an article like this, it it needs to be taken with a grain of salt, I think, and really be picked apart like we're doing.
That's our job, right? Our job is to, read these articles, because a lot of times these articles go out to our clients and they send them to us and they're saying like, oh, what's this all about?
All the time.
And our job this is our job as realtors. We need to analyze this information and we need to give you our input, our feedback on what these articles actually are talking about. And
day in the life of a realtor.
Day in the life. And, we call BS on this article.
So hard.
And we'll post it for our viewers so you guys can take a look for yourself and you can let us know. And hey, if you have differing opinions, we want to hear those differing opinions too.
Of course.
No, we love feedback at the end of the day. But this is our view on it. This is not going to solve the issue. Airbnb is not the problem.
Definitely.
For housing affordability. It has to come down to, red tape with builders, and it comes down to people not wanting to rent long term. At the end of the day, why are you renting? Like we said, why are you renting to somebody if they're not going to pay your rent? What's the point? Might as well keep the basement for yourself. You might as well keep, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Right? Speaking of basement, we had a client who's trying to sell their house.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we did not sell it right now just because of the situation that they had, and it was a tenant in the basement. And to be quite honest with you, it's because of that tenant in the basement that it affected their property in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like, long story short, that's really what happened.
But
they were a bad
measures,
tenant.
Right?
We did everything we could.
Yeah.
But this tenant was not cooperating with the sale.
In the sense they wouldn't leave.
They wouldn't leave for showings. They had
this was a mess.
It was a mess downstairs. Some agents were saying that they smelled like dog shit in the fucking basement. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible situation. But we got a solution.
Yeah.
There's an N11 that's been signed. They're gonna vacate the premise and we're gonna relist and get top dollar like we always do.
N11 is a form that just like legally binding. They got to go.
Correct.
Yeah. It's basically the tenant confirming that they're going to leave by a certain date, and it holds a little bit more weight if you ever have to go to the landlord and tenant board.
Quicker.
Yeah, much quicker. And there's a lot of times where landlords will actually pay the tenant to sign these forms. We didn't have to go that route, which is fantastic.
Wow.
But there's a lot of times where that will happen, and it can get dicey. Let's put it that way. It can get dicey.
Somebody has, especially in the winter, cold of winter, people may not have a place to go. Who knows, right? Tough times.
Yeah.
And again, our client, a lot of people don't know about these forms, and there's options. So again, when you have a knowledgeable realtor that can assist you, like, there's solutions to these types of problems.
Yeah.
Since you guys are so knowledgeable,
so wise,
can provide solutions. Question for you: speaking of renting, because I had someone message on our Instagram when we asked what people wanted to talk about. We're talking about rentals. We're talking about investment properties. When rates were going up and things are going up, and you're no longer cash flowing, what do you guys advise? Or what did you see with some of your clients, or maybe on your own properties, when you're no longer cash flowing, and it's not just for a little bit, it was for that extended period, and maybe a prolonged period.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you navigate whether it's time to just give it up or keep going?
Yeah.
I like to call it like a reposition, where we had a client had a detached house rental, negative cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Not their fault. This is what's been happening in the market, but we sold the property. We got them into another detached, but an upper lower.
Yeah.
Right. Paid down the more two incomes. Was able to get them out of that negative equity.
Yeah.
They still have an asset that's going to go up in value, and they're not feeling it every month.
Yeah.
That was the solution.
That's the hard part, right?
Well,
imagine you own a property and it's an investment, but you're still forking out $600 to $800 every month.
It's crazy.
It's tough. And I think to add to Mike there, the key thing here is if you're bleeding, like you said, and you have, a negative cash flow and it's hindering how your life is.
Yeah.
The key is not to be greedy in situations like that, right? If you've made money, then, you should probably consider walking away from that investment, or at least pivoting or repositioning, like Mike said, right? How can we maybe add value? So maybe if you have a detached house and you're renting out the upper floor, let's renovate the basement. Let's put in a kitchen. Let's put in a bathroom. Let's put in a
refinance that mortgage if it's possible.
Yeah, right? Absolutely, right? There's solutions.
Yeah.
There's solutions out there. Every situation is unique, but there is solutions out there. Main thing is you can't be greedy in these scenarios, because if you get greedy, and you double down on some of your bets, and sometimes it doesn't go your way, then you could be in big trouble. So knowing your risk management is super important.
Yeah, and your risk tolerance.
Risk tolerance.
We have
Huge.
that one too, right? Like it may be one of those where you got to write it out, and then you'll see it come back up.
Yeah.
Right. Make sure that you've allotted that capital to being able to.
Yeah.
Be able to ride the wave, right, and field any type of issues that come your way.
Yeah.
And I think that it involves a collaborative effort.
Oh, for sure.
Right, between client, realtor, even a mortgage agent or any financial advisor, having that plan in place, right, so that you have that positioning. But that's something that people ask. They wanted to know, how can you adjust? And I think repositioning, right? So you could sell the asset and reposition into a better position where you are cash flowing, or possibly selling, possibly refinancing, being able to do these types of things. Because if we refinance, like you were saying, we could refinance, pull out that equity, use it to beef up the property or turn that property into
a dual income
property, right? So
solutions
are available.
We wanted to, we talked about at the beginning of the episode, we were going to talk about different lending products at different stages of life.
Solutions.
And we wanted to ask you that question because there are, people out there that are, whether, you're getting older, maybe starting to retire, and there's different products for people that they can use as tools to, help alleviate certain things in life. So I wanted to ask you some questions about that in terms of different products for different stages of life.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks.
There you go.
Like we said before, it's
all relative.
It's all relative. It's all relative. You got to be, honestly, one of the benefits of working with a mortgage broker is that variety of lenders that we work with.
And products.
Variety of lenders equals variety of products.
Yeah.
Right? So from A to Z, we've got you covered. If you're in the beginning stages of life, right? Sorry, not life, like a child, but beginning stages of your adult life, right? You're a first-time home buyer. You really want to get into the market. You're educated. You've done your reading. You've done your due diligence, but you don't have a lot of down payment. You're just out of university. You're going to get a good high-paying job, but you don't have the capital. You don't have the down payment. We have those insured products. That is something that is, a viable option. The rates are lower on that end. The CMHC premium is already rolled into the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for you.
It's a good early life stage.
Early life stage
choice.
Product. Okay.
What if I ask you a question about reverse mortgages? Because that seems to be a common theme that's coming.
Yeah, 100%. So I was going to get into that. I was going to say that as you move on, right? That insured product is good for those early stages.
Yeah.
We have the reverse mortgage product, which is better for those later stages of life. You have somebody who's 55 and older, Canadian citizen, has equity in their house. We can tap into that to help alleviate costs of living, whether they're medical expenses, home renovations. Maybe they want to give an early inheritance to their children. Some elderly folks do not have a pension that they can rely on, or they're only relying on their pension. It's not enough in times where cost of living has gone through the roof, right? So that's a product that is tailored to the stage of life that you're at, right? So we had a family. Sorry,
this may be a stupid question. Do you have to be 55?
Yeah, 55 and older.
There's no stupid questions on this podcast. Yeah. They're all good questions here.
There's only questions.
There's only questions.
No
stupid
questions. So, that's...
You have to be 55.
55 and older, yeah. So it's that's minimum criteria, right? So if you are at that point in life, or if you have a family member at that point in life, like I had a client, it's like a success story from 2023. I guess you could say story time in this sense.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Story time.
Real life experiences. This is what it's all about.
Close friend of mine reached out. Situation. They wanted to provide, quality home care, health care for, their mother.
Okay.
And it's expensive.
It's not cheap.
It is not cheap.
No way to beat around that bush.
He himself is retired. It's not an easy process.
No.
In that sense. And within a week, we got them the money, tapped into that equity. You access the equity of your home without having to sell it, and it's tax free.
Yep.
Okay. Tax free right away, cash in your hand. You can choose to get a lump sum all at once, or they can, they could have planned it out for to receive monthly payments.
Are you seeing more of this now that?
So I'll be honest with you. We at the end of 2023, we went to our annual mortgage summit.
Okay.
We had all of the reverse mortgage lenders at our disposal, and the amount of people accessing this product, because in Canada, it's not like other parts of the world. A lot of someone's net worth is in their home.
Yeah.
Right. It's all they build up.
Very
They build
true.
up. It's in your home. Right. Like these, if we look at our families and other families that we know, people who bought a house 20 years ago, they're sitting on, $1 million+ dollars.
Yeah.
And they can't access it unless they sell their home.
I saw such a good meme the other day. I'm sorry to change the subject here, but
go.
it was some old lady. It was on Instagram. Did you see it?
I saw it.
On Instagram, it was like this boomer selling her house for $2 million in 2024 when she bought it for $18 in 1960.
And she's just dancing around.
And she's dancing, and you see,
you
see the Gen Z or the Gen X buying the house just dead.
Yeah, and it's that's
there's equity to tap into. Yeah,
there's all that equity, but they can't access it unless they sell their house.
Yeah.
Pass away, all right, and hand it on, right?
Yeah.
These are things you don't want to do, right?
Yeah.
And so they are able to, with this.
You don't want to die.
You don't want to die. No, you don't want to do that. You don't want to die. So, that's something people are trying to avoid. So it's something that, in Canada, unfortunately, that's the situation.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to have a product like this that exists.
That's
you don't
good.
have to access all the equity. You could access a portion, small amount, whatever it is, to help, retrofit a house if necessary, right? So that home is more injury preventable, right? Like, it's safer.
Take that money out to build a secondary suite for the Gen Z that can't afford a house.
Can't afford a house. There you go, right? So early inheritance. So these things it has to directly benefit the borrower, right? And the homeowner. So that product's amazing. And so what I was going to say is, when I went to the summit and we seen these lenders, chip reverse mortgage, equitable mortgage, Bloom reverse mortgage, they let us know that the market is there. We just have to educate people, right? That generation who does qualify, maybe they don't understand the concept of a reverse mortgage, where that money is coming to you. You're not paying anything.
So it's good we're chatting about it on this podcast.
It's really, really good. If you do want to get more information on that, slide into the DMs at Carolina Mortgages. Yeah. We'll have a conversation. But it's a great product for a different part of life. And then, just to finish my point, because I know we're rambling here, but if you're self-employed, if you don't show a lot of money on your tax returns, we have products for that too, right? So that variety of products, different parts of life, different paths of life, are all accessible, when you come to that brokerage channel.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Let's change gears real quick.
Sure.
I have a question for Mike that I wanted to ask, because there are people that are asking this question now that, we're in the winter, and things, as we said on other episodes, things might start to look really, really good coming in the spring and the summer. There's going to be a lot of people that are looking to get their properties ready in the winter to sell in the spring. So I wanted to just ask you a quick question before we move on. What should people be doing in this winter to get ready for the spring
sell
market?
Their house in the spring?
Yeah, that's because that's a common theme right now. Yeah,
proactive.
What I'm predicting, I think you'd say the same, is that there's a couple more. There's going to be a little more inventory on the market.
100%.
It's going to be very important to be priced properly and to show your house very, very well. Like in the sense that you should be staged. Make the price attractive, make the house look attractive, because you're going to have some competition.
Yep.
And we don't know. We've been predicting that the rates are going to go lower, houses are going to go up, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Not with certainty.
We might hit April.
It's a good estimate, but yeah.
We might hit April, and then things might start coming down again. So I think it's very important, if you're going to go on the market, you should try to sell as quick as you can, but be aggressively priced and be attractive.
Yeah, you need to stand out.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if inventory does come up a bit. We don't know, like we said, who knows, but typically in the spring, this is when people want to list, right?
Yeah.
So if you have other competition out there, you got to stand out. Whether that means, if we're going to repaint a few rooms in the house, things start to melt too, right? Things start to melt from the winter to the
little transition
to the spring
stuff, right? Like sometimes when there's little patches of snow, maybe then you'll get it won't snow for a while, then March, April, boom,
It's
you get
that
hit with
ugly
those-
look.
that
Yeah.
just doesn't make the house show it's gray.
Yeah.
Right. Like
you want to make sure you're clearing the gutters, like things like that. They help. It sounds like it wouldn't help, but it does help.
does
You want to give
appeal, right? That show
exactly
as much as you
effective.
can. Yeah. You want to give
and an inspection.
the best, first impression. That was the next thing I was going to say. It's not bad to include a pre-list inspection. And we've been doing that with some clients as well.
What's that pre-list? So you guys do an inspection
Yes.
for everyone. The
Yes.
clients never have to come and do an inspection.
Yeah. Well, we'll offer an inspection
Wow.
to any buyers who come in. So, it takes away, one,
condition.
cost for them.
Mhm.
Two, it
helps
helps speed up the
house-
process
yes.
too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to put an inspection anymore for
Yeah.
for
How long does
the
that
purchase.
take usually?
Typically,
48 hours?
well, it all depends on the market. To be honest, 5
Wow.
days, 1 day, it all
Wow.
it
Wow.
all depends what's going on, right? 5 days is pretty average though. Five business days, but again, that's 5 business days less that you'll be on the market because you can provide a pre-list inspection, and it shows that you have confidence in your property,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Confidence is big.
It's good.
Huge.
This is
Been
my home,
inspected,
yeah.
It's good. It passed all inspections.
Yeah.
It's good to go.
Yeah.
Put
So
an offer, put your best offer in.
yeah. So getting it ready with staging, with painting, with decluttering, like especially in the winter, we tend to clutter in the winter, right? So decluttering, making sure everything is, free and clear, I guess you could say. And you want to give that amazing first lasting impression for sure.
I got another question.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Go ahead.
Since we're throwing out some questions,
Sure.
a little political question,
Mm.
possibly, right? It's not quite, you don't have to tell me your political views, but do you think that the upcoming American presidential election is going to play a factor on
Good
the
question.
market, the rates,
Yeah.
and
Good question.
What do you think?
life going forward? What do you
We
think?
talk about this often behind the scenes.
Because like
talking about the states election?
like in the States, it's going down. It's happening. 2024 election,
the election.
year.
Yeah.
Canada, it could happen here too. Depends on
Listen.
the outcomes. But
Historically, I'm no mortgage broker. Maybe you can speak to it a little bit better than me. But historically, when there's a federal election, rates tend to drop a little bit, right? Because especially in the U.S., they're going to have that federal election at the end of the year.
right over there in the States.
Right over there, this side, right over
there.
here. What are we facing?
Alaska.
Moscow. Yeah, they want to look good, right? They want to look good to voters. Hey, listen, we're reducing rates. It's cheaper to borrow money. Interest rates are down. Maybe inflation is down. Who knows?
They want to be liked.
They
wanna
want
get
to
that
be like.
popular
Well,
vote.
not that they want to. They need to
Must.
be liked.
Yeah, it must.
So it's not even a want anymore. It's a necessity, right?
So do you think that'll either, like, say we have no election here
In Canada.
that'll have a trickle down?
Yeah,
Right?
we're a
The
melting
Fed, we'll
pot.
follow
Yeah.
the Fed.
I
Right?
think
We
so.
follow the states.
Yeah.
We're not leaders.
That's how I see
followers.
it. Yeah.
Sheep, not shepherds.
Do we before we we talked about a lot this episode, which is fantastic. I hope we brought a lot of content. Do we have any red flags?
We got
we
one.
need to warn our
Yeah,
viewers.
the
and
people want to.
We got another one.
we have a red flag. Okay.
Just one
red
today.
flag alert.
Okay.
The red flag of
Let's
the
hear it.
day.
Yeah.
If your realtor is selling your house and they make a video of your property, and if they're in 90% of the video at all times, that's a red flag to me.
They're in it.
If they're in it.
What if
You see them step out of the car. you
What
see
if the
them walk into
Lamborghini's in
house.
the driveway?
Oh, that's a big red flag.
Ah.
When
you
they
got,
pull
you
up,
gotta
I
go.
thought their
You gotta,
Lamborghini. Is it
you gotta
theirs?
go.
That one.
Does it come with the house?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Rented.
A rent.
Rented Lamborghini.
Yeah, it's usually sometimes not.
Maybe not all
Maybe
the time.
not.
I'm
But
just-
sometimes I'm sure it is.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
pull
if
up.
it pulls
You
into the
seen it?
driveway, that's one thing. But if it's in the video,
Yeah.
if you're in the driveway looking at that Lambo for
Yeah. I want to see the
2
house.
minutes of the video, yeah, I don't. Yeah,
That's a red flag for me.
That's
yeah.
a red
You should
flag.
be in the automotive industry.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what.
Red flag. So
I
if
don't-
if they are in the video content for 90%,
The tour of the house.
9/10.
I got to go look at my videos. I might be.
Sure, you might be. I think you
Mike's
may.
gonna make me look bad here.
Yeah.
We have one of those, I think.
No, we don't. We don't. We're not at 90%. We're quick, but
50-50.
come check it out.
You know what I'm talking You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking
It's-
about.
There's a tour inside the kitchen. I can't see the stove. I can't see the fridge. They're blocking it. It's just them in the
They're
video the
drinking
whole
their
time. I want to
espresso,
see, yeah.
They're reading a book.
I
Red
want
flag.
to see the
Cookie.
house. If I was imagining you're the client,
Yeah.
and you were watching that video,
Yeah. What are you watching?
what do you? Yeah,
You're watching
That's-
your house
Personal branding.
And- yeah.
get put out there, right? You watch your house get put out there, but
but not really. Yeah. So that, again, that video ties into the Insta Realtor over time. But it's all connected. It's one real estate agent.
Yeah.
One type.
We should build like a prototype and just to show maybe like with like arrows, like if what they're doing. No? Okay, never mind. My mind was rambling there for a second. That being said, we're gonna wrap it up. Let's wrap up episode 7.
Wrap it up.
Before we do that, we'll get to our bottom lines. Let's start with Mike. Do you have a bottom line for this episode over here?
Bottom line is as we're going to the spring market, talk to your realtor. Make sure if you're planning to sell, right, you got all your steps, everything's in order. Mm-hmm. And also, if you're planning to lease your property, don't be afraid about Airbnb. Yeah. It's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be.
You're not the cause of the housing problem.
Yeah, you're not
doing that.
Yeah. Right? Don't worry. Don't take it off.
Fault. It's not on your back.
If you have an Airbnb, don't worry. Don't take it off. It's okay.
Do your thing.
Keep doing you.
Yeah. I can definitely share my bottom line. I'm going to refer back to that article that we were talking about. Landlords, at the end of the day, there are some of you that will like to rent long-term to tenants, and that's perfectly fine. What you need to do is you need to make sure you have a realtor that is doing their due diligence and doing their necessary background checks, their necessary credit checks, and just vetting clients, right? Because at the end of the day, this person is going to be living either in your house or in your biggest investment, one or the other. So you need to know who's in there. So don't be afraid to take long-term clients if that's the move for you. Just make sure you have a realtor that's looking out for your best interest and making sure the person that's in there is vetted properly. Tony?
I like that. Same idea in terms of making sure that you're involved with somebody who's doing their due diligence and who has your best interest at hand. For me, I want to make sure that everybody from first-time homebuyers, self-employed individuals, or people who are later on in life and want to access their equity in their home and may be eligible for a reverse mortgage, that you know that there's always a solution out there for you, and that people like myself, people like you guys, are going to find that product for you and make sure that you're always in advantageous position, right? So my bottom line is this: I've got mortgage products for everybody. So just give me a shout if you want to discuss that.
Awesome.
And that's the bottom line.
Wonderful. I think that's a wrap for episode 7. We appreciate all of you for tuning in, for listening, for watching. Thank you. And we will be back with episode 8, bringing you guys some incredible content. Talk to you soon.
Episode 8 will be great.